still will never fully understand, apparently.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I'm looking through the list. I know Limp plays Tundra a bit. I'm pretty sure Noob G plays Tundra as well. But, you know, they did have an idea. They locked Pebbles first. I've talked about, you know, Pebbles Tundra is a very, very strong combo in itself. It's very strong. Yeah. You scout out the enemy players, specifically the, you know, the squishies that are sitting around trying to ward in the jungle or whatnot. You scout them out with that Hawk, and you jump on them with Portal Key on Pebbles. But it just really makes for laning a little bit difficult. It almost calls for a suicide Tundra if you really think about it, because you're going to have a good lane for Pebbles. I mean, it's strong and it can work, but at the same time, I personally would rather have Tundra on my team, but Pebbles is very, very strong. I know Noob G plays him quite well as well, so yeah, we'll see. Now the locks are happening quite quickly yet again. Jeremiah, you know, no question, B-Kid really hates playing against Jeremiah. I think if you look at his ratio, or sorry, his percentage of banning Jeremiah this tournament, it's got to be like, in the blind ban alone,
it's got to be
like 90%.
Yeah.
But yeah, through the locks are now finished. Wow, we got a great lock pool. Pebbles, Bubbles, the Pebbles combination. Plague Rider, Tempest, Miraxis, and Dark Lady. So this is both like very trademark Complexity and tdM heroes. They like to pick these heroes quite a lot, and it's all in that pool. It's all available.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how the bans affect this.
Obviously, yeah. Trademark Esports, again, they do have the first pick out of that lock pool, so that's definitely going to play a huge role. But you said it, man. I mean, that is just such a dominating lock pool here. Now the banning phase coming out, of course, the next very important step to see which options are going to be open with that Dark Lady being locked up. You know. Again, both teams, I'm sure, can play. Obviously, Noob G over here for Trademark Esports. Of course, you got Haxerin over here for Complexity. Both fantastic Dark Lady players, and definitely wouldn't be surprised to see it on either side. And that kind of leaves a question: do you go through and ban heroes like Silhouette, Mageman, Draconis, even Forsaken Archer? I mean, or do you leave those open? Obviously, wanting to get one of those where the other team will pick up that Dark Lady. So it's just the phase that's just how lock picking works. You always got to be thinking steps ahead here with this phase, which definitely makes it a lot of fun, at least from a spectator point of view. And it seems like a lot of the players have definitely got used to it for the most part, at least initially, and are appreciating it more and more. But the bans happening, look at that. It actually went through pretty quickly once it got rolling. We had Glacius, Polywalk Priest, Nymphora, Fade, Demented Shaman, and Magebane. So we do see Silhouette open, Draconis. Talk about that Aluna first pick, though, by Trademark Esports. Strong first pick there.
Very strong. I mean, all the other supports are banned. If you look at tdM, they actually banned Glacius. We don't see Glacius banned that often, but it's no surprise. I mean, the hero is one of, if not the best laning support in the game, just offers so much. And Complexity has been known to first pick this. I believe in the series we cast them last against tdM, they first picked it every single game. And it's a very good, you know, it's a comfort hero for them, but really a comfort hero for any team. And then the fact that they also banned Nymphora, that really makes Aluna a strength, or sorry, it really strengthens Aluna as a first pick. Yeah. There's no one that can really contest her as far as the laning support goes. So Aluna is very, very strong in that regard. I also thought they might first pick Draconis, just because Draconis seems to just be a hero that's a bane for every team in this tournament.
Yeah.
But like I said, with the stronger support, or the strong supports banned, you know, Nymphora and Glacius, Aluna is a very, very good first pick material.
Well, you know, this does bring up a very interesting point right here, especially with those two picks by Complexity. Witchslayer, Andromeda, again, kind of Complexity-esque. You got Witchslayer, very likely going to run a solo role. Andromeda going to be that babysit support / roamer. But now, if Complexity, see, again, this is where it's interesting. Trademark Esports can pass up on not going to carry here. However, if they do, then you got to figure Complexity will pick up either that Silhouette or Draconis here for themselves. Very likely Silhouette, as that Haxerin is just so comfortable with that hero. And then, you know, that would mean that Trademark Esports would most likely go with that Dark Lady. So, you know, there's definitely some mind games that can be played here from Trademark Esports. If they do pass up on a carry, then still, if you're Complexity, you still got to question whether or not you're going to get that Dark Lady, because if Complexity doesn't pick a carry, say they pick something like something random here, like even a Magnus or something like that with their final pick, you know, then tdM can first pick that Dark Lady out of the lock pool, and then for Complexity, you're left without any true hard carry. So again, it's just all that crap theory going on, and a lot of mind games that can be played. And you see Trademark Esports, I mean, they're spending a lot of time here in the regular picking phase. Torture is going to be one pick, and there is the Silhouette pick. So now Complexity, they can be pretty confident that they can get that Dark Lady. So I don't expect them to pick up, you know, something like that Draconis here. Instead, go with something like perhaps even a Magnus or something else here.
I actually still wouldn't be surprised if they picked Draconis. Now, I think that they were banking on picking Silhouette. I really do, because Andromeda works really well with Silhouette, and also Andromeda Dark Lady. That lane, while it's strong, I mean, it's decent, they don't really have a jungler, if they just do decide to go with jungler, to kind of give them that active support. Tempest is okay. We've seen them run Tempest a lot, but if tdM decided to man up against that, they should win. And so they did pick Silhouette. Silhouette with Andromeda, we've talked about it. It's very, very good late game. It also lanes somewhat well because it synergizes quite well together. So I actually really like the Silhouette pick, and that's why I think I wouldn't put it past Complexity to pick Draconis this game. I really wouldn't. And there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
That's, you know.
I just looked at, I mean, I just looking at it, I don't think TDL would really fit because I think it's quite obvious tdM is going to man up against that lane, and you're going to have something that lane's a little bit stronger, and Draconis fits that role.
It's almost as if you know what you're talking about, Trail.
Almost.
Obviously, B-Kid had a very similar thinking, apparently, and sure enough, they go Draconis. Now, the last time they played Draconis, I believe it was against TT Esports. There was that game 2 in the Winners Bracket semifinals, if I recall correctly, where Draconis, played by Haxrin, was level 17, was like 4 levels higher than anyone else. I mean, he was a farming machine like he always is, and it got to the point where TT Esports was like, yeah, we're not coming back. Like 22 minutes into the game, they just gave up. And, you know, we thought maybe it was a little bit hasty, but still, that just goes to show you the power and presence of Draconis. Now, tdM, this is what I was going to say, you know, that kind of left open, you know, Complexity, they could try to maybe get that Tempest, but what if tdM first picked the Tempest out of the lock pool, and sure enough, they do. So Complexity, they're not going to have a jungle hero this game, and that is honestly pretty rare to see from Complexity. We're so used to seeing that just generic lineup from them.
Right.
It ain't going to happen this time. Now, they could go with something like a Pebbles Bubbles, the Pubbles combination. Wouldn't be surprised by that. You know, perhaps run a Witchslayer Pebbles lane, even though they like to run Witchslayer solo. I don't know. Yeah, definitely some options open.
It's going to be Plague Miraxis. I'm almost sure. If you really look at it, yeah. Damn,
Why do I even guess? I should have just thrown it over to you. What are they going to pick?
I mean, that's the only thing their lanes call for. They're going to have Plague Miraxis in the long lane. And the thing is it's going to have to be a solo Draconis. The way that Complexity runs, and they're smart. They're not just like, well, crap, we're going to have some weak lanes, but let's try to deal with it. No, they don't play like that. Homie don't play that. And they're going to actually have Andromeda, I feel like, be more of a roamer here. They're going to have Plague Miraxis bottom, Draconis solo top, Witch solo mid, and Andro is going to try to be active this game. But I don't know. It's kind of scary. I mean, Draconis, yes, does farm very fast, but if that's what they do, they're not going to be able to stack that jungle quickly. The only thing also is we could maybe see a support Witchslayer, but that's like blasphemy to me, and I know B-Kid hates it as well.
Yeah.
So. And then final pickup here is that Pebbles, and it's being played by Limp. Yesterday we saw Minuts play it, but it was because of the draft that they had, it was more of that roaming style Pebbles. So I believe Limp, who's also more of that solo-esque kind of carry style player, I think it's going to be the farm is going to go on him.
Man, I mean, we said this yesterday, I believe, and we said quite a bit. You know, not even quite a bit because it is actually pretty rare to see. But when you can get Pebbles as your final pick of the overall pool, I mean, you know something's going well. So this is Trademark Esports lineup. They definitely got a powerful lineup, and their lanes on top of that also have the makings of being very, very powerful as well. So as it always is, going to be really interesting to see how this laning phase starts out. And in fact, you see right off the bat, I mean, obviously we're going to pause here coming out from Complexity, but look at tdM. They are already they're already heading towards the top lane. Pretty much everyone has already bought all their items, so they're making it very clear that they want to get this Ward of Sight down here, specifically by Fane, of course, on Aluna, as he's the one carrying both of them. And Complexity has yet to start moving. I mean, a couple of them have bought some items, but at this pace, depending on how quick Complexity is coming out of this pause, we could very likely see tdM actually get up here quick enough and get that Ward of Sight placed down. And that's always an interesting tactic, and see how that works out. And, as we talk about, that can definitely start control of the game, really.
It really can. Yeah, it really is important to do that. And I'm curious as to see what tdM does. Their heroes they have a lot of options with their heroes. We could see a tri-lane Pebbles with that Tor. I mean, that would be so strong.
Yeah.
It's the thing about tri-lanes like that in the long lane, even when we're against one hero, say that one hero happens to be Draconis, and I feel like that's what they're going to do. And they'll have a Draconis maybe solo top. A tri-lane like this, a Pebbles, a Luna Tor, you should still be able to score kills no matter how passive he plays. I mean, it would be really hard to screw that up, because those heroes are just so strong and so easy to gank with. But at the same time, they could maybe even do a Suicide Tempest and the tri-lane or a dual lane mid, dual lane bot. That might even be stronger. But if you really sit down, and maybe this pause will help them do that, and think about what Complexity is doing, and then I could be wrong, I really feel like we're going to see a Plague Miraxis bottom, And then Andro top just seems like a waste to me. So I really feel like Andro's going to be roaming between mid and bottom. But we'll see what Complexity does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Draconis more so than Haxrin, but Draconis is a hero that really thrives off being next to that jungle and eventually going into it, you know, taking out the stacks and, of course, eventually taking out the triple stacks, as we've seen as early as level 7, very early on in the game, that Draconis can pull off. So, and again, with the level of play coming out from Complexity, you would like to think that Franzi is going to definitely be on top of stacking that jungle. Now, if he is roaming between the bottom and the middle lane, then, you know, maybe he won't have as much time to do that for Draconis, and that's something to keep in mind as well if he ultimately decides to play something like that role, not necessarily sticking to that top lane supporting Draconis. But yeah, it is going to be interesting again to see how Complexity decides to go about it when it comes to the lineup. Of course, you got B-Kid playing that Witch Slayer, and as you said, you know, support Witch Slayer, not a huge fan of it. Now there's B-Kid, and so very likely going to be more of a farming style role. You get the early portal key as well, some good levels, and he can be very, very powerful as we have seen. So, man, I just cannot believe we are here in the Grand Finals finally. It's just been such a long process. Again, I'm not complaining. I really don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining. It's been so much fun and everything. But it really has, you know, every single day for the most part, really, other than maybe 2 break days, it's just been coverage here on Honcast, a lot of matches that we've gone through. It's hard to honestly remember every single one, of course, but we are finally here in the Grand Finals. Complexity versus Trademark Esports. So many storylines, which we still haven't even got to. We talked a little bit about, you know, obviously the rematch, how tdM's the only team to take a game off of Complexity. But there's also, of course, Trademark Esports being the old sponsorship of this Complexity team formerly, and you know how they kind of moved on to Complexity, and tdM picked up this team now. And then there's also the fact of Chessie and Limp. They're brothers. I mean, so we got some brotherly love going on here with this game, Chessie playing Plague and Limp playing that Pebble. So that's always fun to address as well. You know, really the only other popular brother duo we've had in HoN was, of course, Swindlemelons and Z-Freak. So it's fun to see more of that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that coming into this tournament. I had no idea. I'm trying to think of like pictures, and they kind of do look.
I know,
similar now that
well, there was a
about
picture actually. Big shout out, by the way, to Fantasy over at Gosu Gamers. He has just been doing nonstop coverage.
Big shout out.
As far as article coverage, and he once again did more coverage for the finals, and he posted a picture of both Limp and Chessie when they're on its Gosu actually, and it was like, yeah, I looked at it too. I'm like, you know what? They actually do look kind of alike, and so that makes sense. So, yeah, it was interesting.
Now we have, okay, I'm trying to see who. I think we're going to see a Plague Merax's bottom, no question there. Now Andromeda's starting up here. Maybe she's just wanting to ward, and then we'll move somewhere elsewhere. It's going to be that solo Witch, so you know this is very, very standard of what Complexity is doing. Nothing out of the ordinary. But as I thought, it's going to be that solo short Tempest against this dual lane. It's very, very strong. Of course, she cannot die. That's the most important thing. She's going to deny a lot of experience with that, you know, the conversion spell, the elemental spell. But if she doesn't die, that's going to be perfect. She can get those levels and then do a lot with her team. What's important, though, for tdM is that they're aggressive. I really like the way that they're laning this. They're going to have a Witch against the Silhouette. The thing that they need to be sure of is that they don't get ganked. And I actually really wish that someone on the tdM side would have actually warded defensively here in the jungle to spot any ganks coming from possibly that Andromeda. Because once they know that it's a solo dragon up here, you got to assume that your mid's going to get ganked or at least pressured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you see Silhouette right now being played by Noob G, of course, here for Trademark Esports. He is going to be in the middle lane. So we'll see Andromeda, how much power is she going to bring to the table. And she, sure enough, here is in the bottom jungle. So you were just on the mark today, Trelfmandor. I definitely give you a lot of credit for that.
I brought my A game.
You really did bring your A game to spectate the Grand Finals. Let's say that much. So, and you see right off the bat, she's headed towards the middle lane. So you said no vision here for Silhouette. He needs to play somewhat passive. Now, you can't blame him if he doesn't. Now, this is actually pretty good position as far as the creeps are concerned. You see Witch Slayer trying to even pull them a little bit right here as he threw out an auto attack onto Silhouette despite being uphill. But he wants to try to get Silhouette baited up. You can definitely tell that's what's going on here from B-Kid. Running uphill. There's a graveyard stun, but no common stun coming out. Andromeda still, by all means, far away. And so, actually, Witch Slayer needs to be careful. I mean, he's already dropped. Now, he is trying to bait right here, so that's he's maybe just going man up right here. But no, he's going to use a health potion, and in the end, we'll be fine. But having to use a very early health potion. Silhouette, though, still yet to go down this hill. She's playing very, very passive. But it seems like the mid lane control seems to be going very well for her early on.
Well, oh, actually spammed right there, but missed that CS. That's unfortunate. Now she's playing really far up. This is exactly where she doesn't want to be. Okay, Noob G has an idea of what's going on. Now, yeah, Witch Slayer was being very aggressive there. They knew that they had to get a significant amount of harass down to him before Andro actually came in, because level 1 Andro spells plus Witchlayer spells not going to do anything to Silhouette. They're going to have to wait to whittle him down a little bit, and actually response has already come out from tdM, and it's this Luna. Now this is what I talked about in the series that they faced each other last time in, is that the thing I'm scared about is that they don't pressure or actually get enough done in the tri-lane before actually moving around. I would like to see Draconis much more pressured before actually moving around.
Yeah.
Now we'll see. Maybe the pressure can be done with just Torture and Pebbles. Maybe that's just enough. And if that is, that's just fine. But they're going to have to be active and actually do something. Some harass already coming out from my nuts, but you know, not too much to follow up. So we'll see how this goes, but yeah, I really think that the #1 priority is to shut down that lane and then move afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he does have 3 creep kills, but you know, I think what you said at the end there too with, yeah, sure, Luna left, but I mean, it is still Torture Pebbles. I mean, that it definitely has a good amount of synergy, especially when they both hit level 3. You could expect those stalagmites on top of the chain reactions and agonizing bonds to just do a lot of damage. Actually, he did go impalement with his level 2 right there for Torture, but even that, I mean, if they can combo effectively, which, you know, very likely can happen, that Draconis may be in a little bit of trouble, but Torture is actually roaming here towards the middle lane. Now, he did run right past a ward of sight that was placed at the beginning of the game, but look at B-Kid. B-Kid is playing very aggressive right here. Oh, so he did not see him. He must not have seen him with the ward. Out comes the chain reactions. Are we going to see enough damage? Power throw going to income. Where's the true grapple? No, he tries the Death Lotus nuke right there. I don't even think it hit, so Witchslayer is going to be more than fine. Tempest in the jungle in the meantime. Going to run into Plague Rider actually roaming around, as well as a level 1 Andromeda, and that'll get him to fall back quickly, but he does have support coming over from Luna. But yeah, B-Kid right there, I mean, that was very, very close to death for him.
Yeah, I mean, that was really scary. Now, here's the interesting thing about Tempest is when you really can't do anything in that lane, he's just going to concede this lane and try to farm as much as he can. Now, this could be scary because Meraxis is going to get utter, complete free farm. We're going to see Meraxis yet again, early Steam Boots, and then right into a portal key. Should get it. If this pace continues, it's going to be right around that 10-minute mark, maybe even earlier. Look
at how many denies they have. Moonmeander has 17 denies himself, and then there's a 6 from Plague Rider. That's 23 denies that have taken place at this bottom lane only 3.5 minutes in. You talk about just denying literally every single creep, it almost seems like. That is just mass control. So as you put it, I mean, Tempest in the jungle, he really doesn't have a choice because of it, but at the same time, that's the power of him. Meanwhile, at the top of it, we do see a lot of pressure. Pebbles in a lot of trouble, and Pebbles will fall. They dove onto Draconis, and it did not work out at all right there. The Blazing Flight, and then eventually the Dragon Flame came out from Draconis and turned it around onto Pebbles. I believe the tower damage was also assisting right there. Not the start you needed for tdM.
Not at all. I mean, they were trying to combo onto a full HP Dragon, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now when you gave Dragon this lead, he has a lead now. I mean, he might not have all the CS in the world, but he's got the experience, and that's all he needs right now. And they're not going to be able to kill him. Andrew's going to sit up here. Meraxis is already free farming. It's not like Tempest can walk back to this lane. And Complexity have this game now. I mean, it's really going to go in their favor, everything, just because of that kill. I mean, that's all it takes. Just something like that. Yeah. And that's why it really goes back to, I feel like they just need to pressure that lane a little bit more. That's the whole idea behind a tri-lane, is you get kills. And you get, you know, just complete dominance over one hero, at the same time getting a lot of farm on the other. Now, yes, you can roam mid, and maybe they were pressuring Silhouette just a little bit, but, you know, priorities first, man, and you got to get that kill, or at least a lot of harass on Draconis. And now Draconis is just going to go farm the jungle. He's going to stack this jungle, leave that lane to someone else, maybe the Plague, maybe the Andro, but Andro's probably just going to be roaming around and whatnot. But it's going to spread out the farm very, very nicely for Complexity.
Yeah, so really Trademark Esports finding themselves in a kind of an all-in strat, almost, you could say, of especially with this Pebbles, you know, getting him that early portal key, as well as maybe a Ring of Sorcery or even Steam Boots, and just start roaming around, setting up kills left and right, and also making sure Silhouette maintains a pretty solid farm herself. I mean, she is actually doing fairly well here in the middle lane. She had a haste rune bottled up right there using some charges. So, of course, she will activate the haste rune. Currently farming 25-8 with a 270 gold per minute against a 19-4 Witchslayer. And obviously, both have been pressured a little bit to begin this game. So, Noob G here on Silhouette, he is definitely pulling things off here. And Noob G has been a player specifically for Trademark Esports that we've been giving a lot of credit to for a very good reason. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, Tempest in a lot of trouble. A big dive here from Meraxis. No ports are going to come in, but Meraxis will end up turning around and falling back. But you see Tempest right here, Pablo McDad, nearly taking a death as he tried to go back in the lane. But as you said, I mean, with Moonmeander free farming and a level advantage on top of that, it's tough now for Tempest to come back into this lane here.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. Now Tempest is completely out of mana. If Moon gets the right position, he can pop his Steam Boots onto Intelligence, and he really can dive and just completely destroy this Tempest. barring the fact that no ports come in. But if you look around, there are no ports even up on anybody. If he knows that, if he has that information, he can easily make a dive and kill his Tempest, knowing that she's completely out of mana. At least, well, not completely. Actually, the stun mana does just come up right there. Might be enough to kind of stop a kill, but here comes Andromeda. Andromeda probably has wards as well. Going to put a ward behind the tower, I'm assuming, to maybe see any possible baits that are coming out of this Tempest, but maybe they're just going to go dive right on him. The stun is just out of range. No boots on the Andromeda. I feel like they even could have just started with Miraxis axes, but that's unfortunate. Top lane, though, they are pressuring this tower quite a bit. There is no Ring of the Teacher yet, but the Impalement is up. It's level 2, and actually pulling coming from the Aluna, so they're going to push it even more, and she's going to pull this right here to that hard camp, and that tower should fall up top.
Now, Miraxis does have a Homecoming Stone, but it would only be him, so yeah, I don't think he's going to port in. And as you said, this is going to be about a 7-minute tower kill here for Trademark Esports. So, I mean, sure, giving up that Bloodlust kill wasn't necessarily the greatest thing, but they do get a 7-minute tower kill. And other than that, they've been staying alive. And like I said, both Silhouette and Pebbles actually are managing a pretty good farm, especially, well, again, they're really at the same point. Now, yes, more actions at 350 gold per minute, and Draconis is always a scary hero. He's only farming 260 right now, but especially with him being level 7 here, as you said, he's really just a hero that at least needs levels early on. Then he can just amplify because of those abilities as far as his farm is concerned, and he will start to take off. So, Trademark Esports, again, they should feel that they're in, somewhat of an okay position, but by no means should they feel excited about the circumstances.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what I like to see teams do, actually. When you push a tower like that, what a lot of teams will do is just, all right, we got the tower, let's back off. And then the other team will just free farm that top lane forever. But they're actually continuing to put some pressure. And even coming from Fane, or sorry, you got me saying the name incorrectly all the time now.
Let me correct you, Trout.
Yeah. Fine actually puts up a ward of sight very early on in this, this little place here. I don't know what to call it, this little cliff, I guess. But usually we don't see this or see a ward there that early, and it's going to provide a lot of vision. Now it's going to be okay if they make something out of it, which I mean by actually having heroes up there and applying pressure to this top lane.
Yeah.
But they're kind of backing around right now. They're actually pulling that hard camp to this. That would be actually quite huge, but they only get a couple creeps. It's still pretty decent.
Oh,
but
actually at the bottom lane.
Bottom lane Tempest. There's nothing doing right there. She dies immediately. The ports do come in. Lots of ports at that. 3 ports. Can they get something? Pebbles does have a toss. Maybe he'll toss Torture. He does. Torture will follow up with a stun. Torture will, yes, he does. Stun the combo up, and then Franzi actually will die quite quickly. But good counter, I guess. You do spend a lot of resources, and that's going to give Plague a little bit of time to farm.
It ain't over just yet. Witchslayer may get caught here. No, Aluna runs right by, and I believe Witchslayer should be fine to the end. So she just didn't have the vision to know that he was coming down the hill. You see right there, Fine was going to place a ward of sight, but it wasn't able to get there in time. So Beacon able to sneak on out of there with those Striders activated just before the possible turnaround came onto him. So, as you said, it ends up being a 1-for-1 exchange. Not the biggest deal in the world in the end for tdM. At least they got the counter kill. It's just a little bit unfortunate that they couldn't port it. Now, again, she actually dropped. Tempest dropped very, very quickly. So I'm pretty sure tdM, they reacted really as fast as possible right there. It just happened to be a very quick kill, especially with the silver bullet coming out from Witchslayer. So, again, very well put on their part. Look at this, actually. Draconis, never mind, I had the wrong hero. I thought she picked up a Grave Locket, but no, that was actually Witchslayer. That makes more sense. But he does have Steam Boots in the Ring of the Teacher. Now, he is farming the jungle. Granted, it has not really been stacked at all. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about. If Andromeda is going to be spending a little bit more time roaming around trying to set up kills, then there's not going to be stacks as a result of that. So, and I think that has kind of shown so far. Now, Silhouette runs into Draconis right here, but Draconis just quickly falls back. But Witchslayer going to find Silhouette. Again, no silver bullet, though. And so, by no means should Witchslayer be able to pick up a kill here. And is going to port away. Moraxis, though, ports into the middle end. He has a creep on him. He's being spotted. Chain reactions come out. And I believe Moraxis, oh, he lands 1 axe. Silhouette in trouble here. There's 2 axes. And Noobg takes that 3rd axe. He's in a lot of trouble now. Nice chase from Moomiander. Chain reactions will hit, but Witchslayer comes in with a graveyard. And down goes Silhouette. Excellent pursuit there from Complexity.
Yeah, really well placed axes there. Hit every single one at the same time, though. That was 5 heroes coming out in mid. So it's going to leave a little bit of time from Limp here in the bottom lane, as well as Tempest to get a little bit of farm on each of the lanes. But it doesn't really matter, because if you look at it, the experience lead is quite heavily in favor of Complexity. 3,300 now coming out for them. A small gold lead, about 800 gold, but they're looking in a really good spot. It really does stem, to me, it stems back to that actually bottom lane, or sorry, I should say the Ancients. The stacking is about to happen. The stun comes out from both heroes, and Franzi will die quite quickly. So the Invis rune really making a big play right there. Good job by Fine and Minuts. But yeah, it really stems back. This game would be so much different. It really would if that Bloodlust kill had not come out to Draconis there. I mean, Draconis top level in the game going up against a tri-stun tri-lane. I mean, Oh, that's hard. I mean, what the biggest deal was it gave him fast levels, which gave him the ability to go to the jungle and just farm the jungle. And that's what he's doing. He pretty much hasn't left this jungle. And he has the early mana tube. Normally we see the life tube, but because he is in the jungle, he needs that extra mana. So it's a good start for both teams. I mean, actually, Portal Key just picked up by Pebbles. So
that's
I put my foot in my mouth right there. So that's going to be really good for TDM.
11.5-minute Portal Key Steve Boots combination on Pebbles. So Limp is doing fantastic. Ooh, a very risky blink right there. He thought they were maybe doing Ancients, but they were not. He didn't really have much vision to work with right there. That was almost just a blind jump, which I guess it really was. But in the end, again, no harm, no foul, as I like to say. As everyone from Complexity wasn't necessarily in the area. Although Plague is attempting to pull right here. He's going to be a little bit late, it looks like, and I don't believe it is going to stack. Yeah. So unfortunately, Chessie missed the initial auto attack. It's one of those cases you think it's going off, and you move before it actually does. So not going to be triple stacked just yet. We'll at least have to wait till the next mark. Torture in the middle end. The silver bullet used. Oh, there's a combo though from Pebbles. Turning around the Witch there. Keeping Torture alive. And there's the surprise Portal Key factor. What a turnaround from Pebbles right there.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, Minus was just a sliver of HP even there at the end, too, with the Andromeda. That level 2 Aurora almost killed him. Oh, the Portal Key, though, coming out from Moon Meander. He's showing it as well, and he gets a very fast kill with assistance from Chessie.
You can do, I can do better.
Exactly. And Moonmeander gets a very, very easy kill right there.
Yeah, that was a great reaction from Movement. And so both Pebbles and Moraxis kept getting that surprise factor as a result of the Portal Key. But, yeah, I mean, not only the thing that's a little bit better about the Pebbles, of course, was, one, it was on a Witch there who's level 8, and it actually is getting some decent farm, so that makes it even that much better. But it also saved the Torturer, where Moraxis, you know, again, it was great, but he only killed an Luna, who happened to be hanging around, who's, again, only still level 4, not doing too well. So, like, great kill, not taking anything away from that, but definitely better for TDM there, I think it's safe to say. But here we go with the triple stacked Ancients, the level 10 Draconis, but in comes Limpy, takes out Plague Rider. And this is what Trademark Esports needs. They needed the Portal Key Pebbles to start making an effect as soon as he got it. And Limp is definitely coming through right now for Trademark Esports.
Yeah, not even just the fact that he's getting these kills. It's going to be after the fact and like, oh god, he has a Portal Key on Pebbles. It's going to make the enemy team, or in this case Complexity, play a lot different, a lot more passive. Which is okay. I mean, they can play passive, but Draconis is going to farm quite a lot. I mean, look at him. Already top farmer in, no, not the game, on his team. The top farmer in the game actually goes to Limp.
Yeah.
So good for him. But still, I mean, this level 10 Draconis, we've seen what this hero can do is when the game gets a little bit passive. And although by all means it should not be passive with the Portal Key on Pebbles, so hopefully TDM can keep up this aggression specifically from Limp.
And you know that they want it. They're here at the bottom lane. They want to maybe try something, but I don't think Pebbles has enough mana to actually combo everything. So yeah, he definitely doesn't. If he did, you can guarantee. Oh man, they're probably licking their chops right now. They really wish Pebbles had mana, because you look at this bottom lane. Pebbles is pushing up. They had a ward aside here placed by Fane as well, or Fine. So unfortunately, just not able to do it. Now they will be able to push up push back this bottom lane as it gets pushed over the tower. But look at Draconis. This is Draconis for you. After those triple stacked Ancients, he's going to do Ancients once again. Only single stack, but still they are Ancients after all. Already up to 340 gold per minute now, and it's just going to start exceeding and exceeding. So, like you said, if you're Trademark Esports, you cannot be happy. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, again, as great as Limp is playing, as awesome as he's farming himself, you're playing against Draconis, who's going to start getting a big farm now because of those levels he got early on, and so you need to keep that activity up. It cannot slow down, and you know, as short of its time as it's maybe been about 2 minutes now since that last kill, so it's really a lot of activity going on here for TDM. You know, you could almost argue that's just a little bit too much. I mean, again, it's a lot harder to do, obviously, than just sit here and say it, but it's the more time you wait, the more farm Draconis is going to get, and we've seen what a shrunken head at Dargon can do, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this goes back to maybe wondering if teams did agree to not use that courier trick to you know, nullify the stacking of the Ancients. Yeah, because that's going to be hard. I mean, Draconis is just going to keep stacking, or someone's going to keep stacking that. He's just going to farm like crazy. And really, I've seen Draconis just do nothing but farm until they get both the Nullstone and the Shrunken Head. And then that's when they really can start taking fights. But before that time, actually, Blink coming out onto Pebbles in the bottom lane. He's in a lot of trouble. Ports coming in, and Pebbles will most likely fall. He does get the Chuck, and actually that puts the tower into deny. Ooh, no, I don't know about that decision. And Torture actually is in a lot of trouble, but they will fall back. So actually that Chuck put the tower into deny, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
And they're able to get the deny, so that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was kind of wondering if he was just going to attack one of the heroes, but no, yeah, he went for the tower thinking that maybe he could get the tower kill, but, I mean, there was no way. So, yeah, a little bit of a poor decision there by Limp in the end, putting it in deny range and giving them the ultimately free deny there. at the end of it, and also his death. But still, that was also just a great jump by Moonmeander on Moraxis, using that portal key, started it up, and Complexity, that's the, Complexity for you. The great teamwork coming out yet again. You saw the ports coming in right on top of it as well. They got the counter kill, they got the deny, and the swing, just went that much better. Now we see in the middle lane, Pebbles trying to jump Witch there right here. He doesn't get the best combo off, but it's still going to be enough in the end, it looks like. Oh, he puts the Hex out. The bottle charge is not enough, though. Moraxis jumps into the last second, may get the kill on Pebbles, to say the least, so that may be something for this. Draconis runs in, picks up the Dragon Flame nuke, and gets the kill. Noob G will fall as well. What an axe knife from Moonmeander at the last second to take out Silhouette. Swap from Andromeda. Torch will fall as well, and the jump that originally started on the Witch there from Pebbles ends up being a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Trademark Esports. They're looking, Moraxis still chasing, choosing to fall back on a fine right there at the last second, but what a turnaround again, and you got to give so much credit to Moonmeander on this Moraxis so far. Yeah, that last snipe by the axe was really, really well done, and things are looking yet again so good for Complexity. I mean, the Dragon just going to get a very, very fast Nullstone. Has his Blessed Orb right now. It's going to have his Nullstone probably in like another minute and a half or so. And they're just going to continue to play their game. I mean, Silhouette is 0-2-0. She is not going to outfarm this team, not one bit. And I think really right now at this point it's going to have to come down to a portal key on Tempest and getting a big hole. I mean, that's what happened the first game TDM took a game, or sorry, the only game TDM really took a game off of Complexity was a big Tempest ultimate. Can they do it this game? For their sake, I sure hope so. Yeah. But for my hair, I hope not. Very true, very true. Yeah, it is starting to look, again, you look at the overall stats, and in that sense, it's not maybe as intimidating as we're putting. I mean, it's still under 1,000 gold difference here, only 18 minutes into the game, but you do look at the specifics, and that Draconis level 13. This is reminding me a little bit, as I said in the pregame, well, when they picked up Draconis, actually, I brought up the TT Esports match, when it was Complexity versus TT Esports in the winners bracket semifinals, how Draconis was off to an amazing start like he is here yet again. He had a decent level advantage, he had a great farm advantage, and it just became so overwhelming to Esports, who had somewhat of a similar team, actually. Remember, they did have a free farm Pebbles. I believe it was played by Slicks, actually. And they also, I mean, think they had a Gauntlet, or they had somebody else that was also pretty aggressive. But in the end, I mean, it just was too overwhelming with the Dragon. So, as much as I hate to say it, it is looking like it's kind of feeling like that kind of game here. But, Trademark Esports, as you mentioned, as they did in the winners bracket finals against the same Complexity team in Game 1 especially, they set up a turnaround moment with a great Tempest ultimate, and before we knew it, tdM was winning the match. So you got if you're rooting for tdM here, and you got to think, for the sake of having this match to last longer, Trademark Esports, they're going to have to bank on that. But Complexity is in a very good spot right now. I definitely think Moonmeander once again on that Moraxis. There's so much credit for that. And now really Noob G on Silhouette. Interesting item choices, actually. She started with the Sustainer, I believe, but now she's picked up a Mighty Blade. So I don't know if that's a case that she just wanted the regen initially, or if she really had kind of a swap there as far as her decision-making, and instead now she wants to work on a Shrunken Head here. Yeah, I think she just realizes that a Shrunken Head is completely necessary this game, actually, in order to win. It really, at this point, it mitigates pretty much all the damage coming out from Hellborn. Yeah. At this point. Later on, when actually you get some more DPS or physical DPS items on the Dragon, you're gonna have to worry about some other items. But she realizes that right now Shrunken Head is probably the best bet. The scary thing coming out from for Complexity is that portal key is actually up on Witch Slayer, and Beaka just really shines when he gets a portal key. That's really where his forte is, I've seen, and he's such a great ganker. He's very, very patient. Will wait in a certain spot the whole time until he gets a perfect initiation. Now he has a haste rune on top of that bottled up, and yet again the Dragon clears out some stacks. His gold per minute is now up to 415. Well, it's going to go up to like 430 here. Let's see if I'm right. 430, yeah. 430 gold per minute. 440 gold per minute. You're wrong. And it's just going to keep skyrocketing. It really is. In fact, I almost think tdM should put a sentry there, or a Ward of Revelation somewhere, but or contest this ancient spot somehow by putting pressure somewhere else. But yeah, it's not over. I mean, it's still very much in this. They're still very much in this game. They are trailing by 3,000 experience, but the gold lead is quite identical. It's pretty much right in the middle. So, yeah, we got a good game going on so far. We definitely do. And, as we keep going back to, Tempest is going to be huge. He does have his portal key now, and I don't think he's showing himself yet, actually. So, Pablo McDad still has that portal key, not giving the information yet to Complexity. So, if you're Complexity, obviously that Pebbles has the portal key. They got that jump factor. Maybe they can assume at this point that they have kind of allowed Tempest to kind of sit back and free farm. So maybe he does have it, but we'll see if that comes into play and when it does, if eventually. But that is 2 portal keys now for Trademark Esports that they have to take advantage of. And you can even say, Silhouette may eventually get one, depending on how she decides to build her. But you see, as we also talked about, it seems like that Shrunken Head pickup is definitely going to be the next priority for him now, to say the least. But yeah, level 11 Tempest now with that portal key. So Trademark Esports, really, a lot of it is going to come down to that once again. As far as Dragon goes, as far as Draconis goes, he has his Nullstone finish and another 1,600 gold already saved up. So yeah, once again, surprise, surprise, a farming beast that is Draconis. Haxrin doing a very good job with that. Blessed Orb just picked up by Silhouette. So she just went the Mighty Blade for the stats, really. And now she's going to switch into that Nullstone here. Now Torturer. Oh, Torturer. Yeah, I'm not sure what Midas was thinking here at the bottom lane. He's eventually going to get – there's no way he's surviving. Yeah, Contagion Nuke comes out. He just simply should not have been pushing that far by himself, knowing that Witchslayer and Moraxis both have portal keys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's really no reason to be there at all. Pretty much no one was showing on the Hellborn side at all. Maybe they didn't see this Witchslayer have a blink or a portal key,
true,
but
yeah.
I don't think so because see this ward down here that Fine placed. It should have seen Witchslayer take that haste rune at the 18 minutes. How many seconds is off of this ward? Yeah, it should have. It had been close. It should have seen it. And but either way, yeah, he really shouldn't have been there. They can still initiate with the swap from Andromeda. There's other ways to get you, and there's just no reason to be down there.
Top lane, we see a possible jump, but a Draconis coming out. Silhouette and Pebbles are up here. There goes that chuck. Of course, you can still do it with the Nullstone. In comes a support, though, with Witch there. The power, though, just misses as well. Morax with the counter, and this is going to work out big time for Complexity. The Dragon does the bait job effectively, and everyone from Complexity joins and gets the kill. Oh, man. I mean, I could tell why Trademark Esports wanted to go in right there. I mean, even I was expecting it to happen. But now, Pebbles was the only one to die by it. Wow. I totally thought Silhouette died as well, but she did pour it out right with their illusion at the last second. So that is the good news for Trademark Esports, but still, excellent turnaround for Complexity right there.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, they might have some action here at the bottom. Silhouette doesn't have a portal key or anything like that. They know that she's down there trying to snipe out the enemy team's Ancients because of that ward placed by Chessie. And she's going to back on out of there. She's going to tree grapple actually to her own jungle and farm that more safely. And, again, things are just looking so good. Morax is 4-0 with 4 being playing a very active game. Only missed 2 kills from Moonmirrors. Only missed 2 kills this entire game. Dragon is 4-0-1. He's level 16. You compare that to anything on the Legion side. Silhouette's only level 4. Well, she actually just dinged 14, so that's good for her. But this is why, I mean, you got to question sometimes also. I mean, the little things is why get Ghost Marchers. I mean, we always see people most of the time get Steam Boots on Silhouette, but late game, Steam Boots I just feel much better, especially on Silhouette.
It's Noob G, man.
It's just Noob G's item of choice. But I don't think that he's going to be able to compete with this Draconis. I mean, Draconis is already very, very close to that Shrunken Head. When you get a Nullstone Shrunken Head at 25 minutes, you know you're doing damn good. It's getting almost close to that 500 gold per minute mark. Can snipe these probably about 460 now, yeah. So, again, I mean, just Complexity furthering their lead at this point.
Well, Silhouette's basically going for the same items, too. I mean, she just finished her own Nullstone. Now, granted, again, she did go a Mighty Blade first, so obviously a little bit delayed from that, but you do compare that to Draconis, and as you said, he is 300 gold away from finishing a straight-up Shrunken Head, where Silhouette is still really about 2,800 gold away from finishing her own. So, again, that's just going to happen that much sooner for Draconis, and as a result, they're going to be able to perhaps take some T5s. Now, Moraxis maybe in a little bit of an interesting spot here. True Grapple will miss the stun, and so Moraxis will be fine. Obviously, that's the downside of not having a portal on Silhouette. Can't set up that tree grapple nearly as effectively. They're going to charge these Ancients, though. Portal can even be used by Tempest. They really wanted to try to catch them here. They even had a ward of sight, so very interesting. It's almost as if they were blind. Now there's ward of sight. Oh, what a jump from Moraxis right there. Pebbles misses as a result. In comes Witch there. Moraxis with the Matrix activated. There's a person on Torture. The Plague is going to come out. Pebbles will not bounce. The Tempest ultimate on all fire, but there's nobody here to follow it up. The Deathload is going to be used, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, so unfortunate for Trademark Esports. That is exactly what they needed, but just a little bit too late. Silhouette the tree grapple, trying to get away. I don't think it's going to happen. No, oh my god, that might have been the case. Oh, no access from Moraxis, but the final auto attack comes out. There's a kill, and it's going to end up being a genocide maybe. Nope, a Luna should port out. It'll be fine. Oh, that sucked, though, for Trademark Esports.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Paulo McDad actually played that very, very well. When you're a Tempest and you're trying to look to get a good ulti, you usually have to go quite late in the team fight. because teams will usually spread out very, very well in the beginning, but as they start to close in on kills, they start to group up a little bit more, and that's exactly what happened. But the Legion side is just too squishy at this point, and so Tempest did exactly what she needed to do, but it's just unfortunate that they didn't have the follow-up to take it down. They got literally all 5 people in that ultimate, but yeah, it's very unfortunate. Complexity comes out on top yet again, and further their lead now to 10K experience lead, 4,100 gold. Things are looking really good, but Moonmare just timed out, so going to have a pause here.
Hopefully nothing too serious again. Just crossing our fingers, and should be back as soon as possible. Good to go. Speaking of Moonmeander, though, oh my god. I mean, that was another big part of that fight. He was actually countering the ward up here, but right as Pebbles jumped him with the portal key, now I don't know if that was just pure reaction or it just happened to be the same exact timing, so coincidence, but he portal keyed himself into the Legion team. The Stalagmites missed as a result. He jumped in with an excellent Quake stun. He got his Matrix off. It caused a lot of confusion on Trademark Esports. Now, if that jump back was successful from Pebbles, you got to think that fight may have been so much difference right there. So much different right there in favor of Trademark Esports. But, again, that's how it started, and just a fraction of a second, literally, difference for the portal key for Moraxis. Got them the jump that they needed, and the eventual win in the fight. And that's a great Tempest ultimate, but just not nearly enough follow-up there from Trademark Esports. So,
yeah, they're just too squishy at this point. I feel like at this point they're going to have to get little pickoffs right now. They don't have enough damage. They don't have enough tankiness on their heroes to really sustain in a full team fight. I mean, look at this lineup. It is a strong lineup. I like it, but it's a little bit more early game oriented. They need more farm up on Torture. Torture really needs a shrunken head in this game where she's just annihilated before the fight even begins. Draconis, oh my god, he's doing what he does. He has 4,900 saved up, almost 5K. And he was against the tri-lane. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. Draconis should not have ever gotten to this point. She should have been shut down completely. Yeah. By the time he's getting any kind of decent farm, the Legion team should have had, like, 4 towers down. Silhouette should have had a null stone plus portal key. I mean, it's too scary now. And there's the shrunken head pickup. You got to imagine that Savage Mace will be in the works afterwards, as that's really the core. It's really kind of the only build we see Draconis go. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And on top of that, of course, he has his level 3 ultimate as well. He's got that level 3 Cataclysmic Assault, so especially with that Savage Mace, you got to be just running for your life. Now, we constantly do talk about this, especially with Draconis. By the way, a jump in the middle lane is definitely happening. Torture is probably going to drop right here. Moraxis jumps in. There's the Witch. There's Silver Bullet to follow. And just didn't even have a chance to react whatsoever. It's, again, just a great jump from Complexity. Tempest jumps in. Will land a Glacial Blast. He avoids some nukes coming out right there. And Draconis is actually in the front lines as well. Again, he does have that Shrunken Head now. Kind of trying to maybe get positioned right here. But the Legion team, of course, they are down a man here. Silhouette, that's just an illusion. So obviously not the biggest deal that she's taking some damage. But Complexity says, all right, well, if you're going to fall back and let us have the tower, we'll gladly take it. Moraxis is going to finish it off right there. And the Hellborn team will now fall back in. Possible Kongor in the works. But so as I was getting at, we've talked more and more about Draconis, obviously, as we've seen him more and more, especially in the later stages of this event here for the DreamHoN Summer Championships. And, you know, his ultimate only lasts 8 seconds. And I know, that's kind of a very interesting only word right there, because that is actually a lot of time when you think about it in a team fight. I mean, now, if you're Trademark Esports, of course, what you would think is, what you have to do really, as soon as you see that popped, usually it goes inside with a Shrunken Head, you have to just run. You cannot fight that. I mean, if you try to fight that, you will lose, as we've seen from time to time. So, really, it's just as sucky as that is maybe to put yourself in that situation, but you just got to get the hell on out of there. Again, I know it's a lot easier said than done.
It's much easier said than done. I mean, smart players, and Haxron is one of them, they'll just simply wait till the right time to use it. I mean, they're not just going to use it, charge it, and be like, come at me, bro. Yeah. Like, they're going to wait until they actually get stuns or until the initiation has already happened from tdM. And it's the same thing. It's the same concept with like an item like Shrunken Head. You're not just going to use it and charge in. You're going to wait until you actually know that they're in it. Like the enemy team is in the fight. They're not backing down, and that's when you start using those spells. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just too hard to dodge. Honestly, I mean, yes, you can try to maybe just run away from it. But by the time he's activated it, the team fight is pretty much already set in stone. So yeah, it's going to be too hard, honestly.
Yeah.
Silhouette hasn't had the greatest impact in the game. has had a little bit of a rough start with the early roaming and just the nature of all the stuns and good team. I mean, I didn't mention that too, but the Hellborn team is just such amazing team fight once it gets to this mid to late game stage. I mean, Plague Ultimate. Plague is now level 11, so the Ultimate's going to do quite a lot of damage. You got the core items up on the Dragon with the Nullstone and Shrunken Head. I think he actually even bought something else. I'm not quite sure. But and then the Witch there, Portal Key, Hellflower now just picked up a Miraculous. Things are just looking continuously better and better for Complexity.
Yeah, it really is, and it's safe to say that this is definitely their game to lose here in what is game number 1 here in the first series. Again, Complexity, they only need to win the one series, where Trademark Esports will need to win both. So especially losing the first game here for Trademark Esports, they're literally just playing every single game from here on out. It's basically just playing to stay alive. Another loss is pretty much going to do it in. So Trademark Esports, again, they're in a tough spot. Obviously, don't expect them to concede, at least just yet by any means, but this bottom tower going to be pushed in here by Complexity. Even more farm for their team. The Legion side, they're kind of just roaming around. Now in the middle, a Witchslayer jumps towards her, actually. Vorter coming in. Pebbles counters on the Witchslayer. The swap to Drama. The Pelago is pressing around. There's the Golden Dragon is pounding in auto attacks with the Cataclysmic Assault. And Silhouette very likely not going to get away as a result. She's trying to run. Will she be successful? Oh, a nice little juke right there. Going to be fine. But while this is happening, you see in the background more kills taking place. So 2 players dead in total, actually, for the Legion side, and Witchslayer was taken out for the Hellborn team. So actually, it only is a 2-for-1 exchange in the end. So maybe as not drastic as it's making it out to be, but still, excellent response yet again from Complexity. They poured in, and they win the fight there.
Yeah, the Tempest Ultimate was pretty much immediately canceled by Beakid,
yeah.
who was swapped out by Franzi, I might add. He was going to die, pretty sure. But Franzi got the swap off, and then the cancel of the Tempest Ultimate happened from that the Hex ability, which is miniaturization, from Witchslayer. So good team coordination right there. I mean, really good team coordination actually coming out from Complexity.
Yeah, that just looked very, very pretty on their side. And, Draconis again, now that was a case. His Cataclysmic Assault, it wasn't maybe necessarily the greatest positioning, but it was still spreading like crazy. I mean, you could see there was 3 different heroes that it was hitting, and they were all like on different sides of the fight. One was to the left, one was to the right. It was almost as if it was 360 degrees right there.
It will even shoot behind him, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So we saw right there, though, again, with that Shrunken Head, he literally is something that you just cannot target, and you have to somehow just avoid, which, as you said earlier, though, I mean, it's just so difficult to do. If he gets to this point, it's a very good chance that the team with the Farm Dragon is going to be victorious, but obviously, the game goes on here, and we do see it coming up now to 32 minutes into the game. The advantages are getting bigger and better for Complexity, so really Trademark Esports finding themselves really on a timetable. And, Pebbles, as great of a start Limp had, he has just completely fallen off. I mean, he started, I think it was 3-1-0 or something like that. So since then, he's been, 1-5-1 since that great start that he had when he first picked up that Portal Key. And I think that's a big case right there of just really how tdM, they really did need him not only get the great start, but continued to do so. And not to say that it's his fault by any means. I mean, again, it just has been actually very superb play coming out from Complexity, as you'd expect for them, especially with this being the grand finals and all of the DreamHoN Summer Championships. So with so much money on the line and so much everything on the line, really. So, yeah, they were playing their A game here today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've said this over and over again, but in this game, how you do in the laning phase or how you do in the early game really propels you to the rest of the game. And honestly, it really, for me, does go back to that failed initiation up top on the Draconis. Yeah. It wasn't worth it. He was full HP. You weren't going to get the kill on him with just a Torture and the Pebbles. You needed that Aluna up there, but even then, Aluna wasn't there, so it's not her fault. You shouldn't have gone on, or shouldn't have gone on in the first place. And this is the story now. The rest is history. I mean, Draconis is farming out of his mind. They're trying to get this Kongor killed, but there's a lot of do-si-doing going on. Wards are up for both sides. Franzi's got a ward right here on the bottom, or sorry, right around the tip of the jungle there for Legion, and then Fine has one right next to it, and a lot of sentries around Kongor. But they have a very good idea. I don't even think though that they can take a team fight until they get, like, say, maybe a Shrunken Head on Silhouette.
We got Moonmeander kind of running up a little bit. It's almost as if he's trying to catch them. Now, again, as you mentioned, they have a ward aside up here. You see some counter warning going on from the Bound Die. But Draconis, by the way, he was just delivered his Savage Mace, too. So now you have to deal with that in the team fights again with that Cataclysmic Assault. It's hitting 3 targets for that plus 100 damage bonus as well as a mini stun. It just absolutely is ridiculous. So Trademark Esports, again, as they had earlier, but this time they need it with reinforcements. But here we go. The miss stun there from Pebbles. He's going to get Hellflowered, and Pebbles will fall right off the bat. So another case of failed initiation coming out and I believe Complexity. Oh, there's another good Tempest ultimate, but the swap out from Andromeda, and Tempest will fall. The coordination just is not here for Trademark Esports. GG well plays are being called, and Game 1 will go to Complexity, and now Complexity is just one game away from winning the DreamHoN Summer Championships, securing their spot at DreamHack Winter 2012, and also taking their portion, what is the $20,000 of the $40,000 prize pool, away from them. So, yeah, it's a pretty big deal with that win there. But again, I can't say I'm not too surprised at the same time. This is the same Complexity team that has been just done so well throughout this tournament. Only dropping that one game, just happened to beat against Trademark Esports earlier on. But there's a reason why they're here in the first place and so highly regarded. So.
And they're one game away from saving my head of hair. Yeah, I mean, this is why I can be so confident. Complexity's they honestly are. They're the best team out there right now, and it's gonna take a little bit more than your typical game of scrims and high scrims, and you're gonna have to do something different. I mean, that's what Fine mentioned in the interview as well. They're gonna try to get them out of their comfort zone, but honestly, this lineup doesn't really seem like it was out of their comfort zone. They picked they didn't pick their Mage Bane, they didn't pick their Dark Shade, but they did pick the Dragon. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a jungle. I guess that's the closest thing out of their comfort zone. But the lanes to me even still were quite obvious, and I really think it goes back to the top lane. I really do. But unfortunately, in the end, Complexity, they brought their A game. Moonmeander, special MVP this game. I mean, he really played quite well. And just very well played by the entire Complexity side. Very decisive game coming up.
Yeah, obviously Moonmeander has plenty of fans out there tuning in, I'm sure, himself. But he deserves it, man. I agree with you 100%. He had an insane start on that Moraxis and was a big reason why Complexity was able to come through there in that first game. So with that said, guys, we are going to be coming back at you with game number 2 here in this first best out of 3. Are we going to see Complexity take it all, or will Trademark Esports stay alive here in the DreamHoN Summer Championships? I'm Breaking CBK. Joining me is Tralph Mador. Stay tuned, guys. Real quick break here, and we'll be right back with game number 2.